from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling stole the first end from Team Feldman. We have brought some play to start the second end here. We're working on the scoreboard. Apologies. Put up a high guard. They're walking that shot down. Like a heavy draw, but maybe coming up to touch some lines. It is perhaps overfilling unless they want it to be in front of their red. The next rock from Team Feldman. Looks like it's a draw. Sweepers are not touching it. I'd say moving on to the left side of the sheets, tapping their shot rod just a little bit closer to the lid. So now they're sitting 2, and Team Kelble is going for it. One, moving the other one back further. So definitely a very solid improvement for Team Kelble. Net shots underway for Team Feldman. They're swimming it pretty hard, and it nicks the red at the top of the house, but it was able to just get enough of the red that was on the button and pushes it out of play. So Team Feldman does a bit of a draw tap. And so now that looks like they're sitting 2 as we near the end of the second end. That shot's underway for Team Kelble. Looks like they're throwing a bit of heat at it. Looks like they thought they might get one, but it looks like it's a field goal, which is not good in the curling world as it is in football. It's now with Team Feldman. They're sitting to 2. Now they're off. Now they're going pretty hard. Looks like they are drawing in more of a guard, actually. It's a duck. Updating the action on the other sheet where you got Team facing out of Hollywood. Looks like Kids put up a deuce in the first end, so they're off to a solid start, hoping to build off of their first win of the tournament. Moving back to our feature sheet coverage, we have Team Kelble working on their first skip shot. And it looks like they're probably going to try and run at least one of the blues out. If they get it just right, they could get a double. Kelble's first skip stone. They're on it. It crashed on the guard and it ran into one of the sweeper's feet, so we have a burnt rod of a stone that was placed in motion. And so it looks like they position the stone where it would have gone had the movement not been stopped or altered by the person who burned the stone. So now Team Feldman is sitting in a pretty good position. They have the 2. Maybe looking for a way to get another one in there. They are sitting at 2 as far as we know. Tahoe has the 3rd shot, but then it is one country that has the 4th shot. Feldman lines up a shot and is underway. So it looks like they do want to draw. Maybe it's a little light, so they could be putting in the guard. Sweepers take it and they are fighting for 12 foot. They are guarding the 2 shots that are counting. So for Team Kelble, there's not an easy path to those shot stones. And I'm wondering what they might do to try and reduce the number of opponent stones in the house. It looks like they're set to draw. and that might be the best bet to just kind of draw across the center line and sit under those the two reds that are on the right side of the house. But we will see what happens as Kelble now makes her final shot of this second end. Not putting up room on it. Needs to curl up a bit more, but it actually crashes on the blue guard. And the rest is just kind of in the 12-foot. So now the door is pretty open for Team Feldman they have a deuce in their hand, and they have a chance to score 3. I don't really see an opportunity to score more than 3, just because it's so tricky to get the red that was third shot out of the way. So it looks like they're hopefully going to draw, and they have the back of the 4-foot to work with, so trying to find the right weight is going to be very key for this shot to work. So Katie Feldman's shot is underway. Supers are complaining a little bit now, they're going a little harder. So it's coming up a little bit, and it's going to roll in to get sit there, and it looks like it is a count of 3 for Feldman. Just a well-executed event on that team's part, taking a 3-1 lead early here in this game. We'll be back in just a moment as our coverage of the 2022 MoPac Women's Club Playdowns continues. Live streaming of this and other regional competitions is powered by the 1,500 members of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. Our mission serves to grow curling and foster competition in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. Visit MoPacCA.org today to find a curling club near you or for help in getting one started in your community. About ready to get underway here in the third end. Looks like in the other game, Coyotes was able to answer the first end by Hollywood's team Goose Girl. So we're all square at 2 in the third end on our shoot contest. Now we have the first stone in play for Team Team Feldman in the third end. And while we're doing that, we're going to meet the teams as soon as I add the videos of the teams. So let's see. The lines are a little tight, and it's going to crash on the guard, but just pushes it to the side. So now there's just 2 center guards. So, well, Team Feldman gets their next shot lined up. Let's meet Team Feldman.
I'm second.
Laura Lunetta, vice.
And Katie Feldman, skip, and we're from Wine Country Curling Club.
I'm Chris Sullivan and lead from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling.
I'm Shelley Morsudi, I'm second, Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling.
Nancy Dice, vice from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling.
Rebecca Kelble, skip from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. We're Team Kelble
From Lake Tahoe
EPIC Curling!
Sweepers are on it. event and bring coverage of these teams to curlers from, throughout the region and throughout the U.S. So. So there's 2 centerish guards, and Team Kelble wants to draw around, which was a less popular remake version of Jump Around. Come Around was not as popular. Won the Tahoe Cup mixed doubles competition in 2021 at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling, and she has been an active board member at the club for 6 years. She loves to curl and aims to have a great time every time she steps into the ice house. About a 20% buried. Kelble's not worrying about that right now, as she is setting up to draw around on the other side of the ice with. Loose, although it did tap one of the blues, one of their stones, back towards the shot rock in the upper left side of the house. And so Team Kelble wants to try that draw around again, and maybe the weight will be. To bite the 12-foot, and the shooter itself rolled, and itself is biting. And so now Team Feldman wants to try that draw on the right side for their own. They're pretty close in terms of the line, so I think if the weight was adjusted a bit, they could get it there. And roll off to the right. So Team Kelble, you can call this a coloring book because we're all drawing here. That doesn't make sense, but hey. Looking at the other sheets, Coyotes, Team Burton was able to put up a single for a steal in the third. They're up 3-2 in the fourth end.
I can fix that.
So let's see if
95. No. Tatiana's was a 9. So then I like the 95.
perhaps a touch heavy, and it might stick around. It's going to hang around in the back of the 12. So it looks like Team Kelble is sitting shots as they take a look at it. And so Feldman is just going for that draw. Although it is pretty close looking at the overhead camera that is provided in the club. So it's going to wick off of their guard and roll under the cluster into the center there and sit in the back 8. So they're definitely shot under a bunch of cover. And it's a shot that the shot that Team Kelble can't easily replicate. And so here comes the shot from Nancy Dice. Supers are just walking it down. It might be a smidge heavy, just based on kind of where they're treating it. It is heavy. It's going to go to the back of the house. It might sit down. It needs to sit down, and it does sit down. So two pretty good draws, although a smidge heavy. And now, after all the things come to an end with this draw game, and now Katie Feldman wants to raise the draw bridge, as it were, and kind of close things up. And here comes the last shot from Laura Lunetta, the vice for Team Feldman. Looks to be perhaps a smidge wide again, but it got another wick off of the guard and is rolling under the center, although it's not as buried as the last rock. And the people in the warm room are a bit flabbergasted, or just astonished at the ability to do these in-offs, these lightweight in-offs that appear to have totally worked for Team Feldman. So Team Kelble, like I said, this last one is not fully buried. It is about 2/3 exposed, and so it is possible for Team Kelble to chip it out if they do a hit and roll. They can roll to the side, maybe leave something for Team Kelble to do an in off of their own to get a point out of this. Here's the first skip stone from Team Kelble. Sweepers sweeping hard. Weights looks pretty good, but it chips off of the red guard and rolls inoffensively out of play. And so now Team Feldman is sitting 2, and they could try and close that drawbridge again, as I'm trying to make happen in a curling sense. But a guard, I just started looking at the best place to put the guard. Nancy Dice was thinking a biter would suffice, although that does increase the possibility of a takeout, that double takeout. And so Katie Feldman, it looked like she wanted it to be a smidge higher, kind of in line where the red and the blue routes are parallel to each other horizontally. in front of the house. So this is the first rock for Katie Feldman. She has the hammer. Her team has the hammer this end, so she has 2 bites of this apple.
Are they still?
The shot's underway. It looks like the line was pretty good. Sweepers are on it. Maybe it's concerned about the weight, but I don't think they want to draw in. So, but also line's going to be a concern because it is starting to curl up a bunch, and it is going to curl up towards the center line. Not quite touching the center line, but it is guarding the 2 shot rocks. Although it does leave open the potential for a draw by Team Kelble to, if they have the full 4 foot, they are going to be sitting shot rock. And so that does appear to be the call for Team Kelble and skip Rebecca Kelble as she goes back to set up her shot. Shot's pretty good. It looks like it hit the broom, if I were to guess. Sweepers are going. I think have to watch for that curl, especially with the weight that they want. Looks maybe it's maybe a bit heavy as Nancy Dice tries to will it over, and so unfortunately it was a bit heavy this time, and it draws into the bundle in the back of the house. Now the opportunity for Feldman to get another multiple score with just a draw to the 8 foot. Any portion of the 8 foot would secure the trice, as I'm also trying to make happen, because we have the deuce. So what do we call a 3? So, one thing I think that's got to help the skip feel confident is that both teams have been drawing this line quite a bit this part of the end, and so hopefully the skip feels comfortable with the ice and the weight in the line to successfully get that 3 points. Sweepers are not on it. They're just following it down. The line looks pretty good. Now they're going. Now they're going, but it looks like the shot's there. And it has backing, as the warm room says. So, but back to the 4 foot, successfully executed draw to get that 3, extending their lead for Team Feldman to 6-2 as we enter the 5th end here at the 2022 MoPac Women's Club Playdowns. We'll be back in just a moment. in the fifth end. The last end before we took a clapping of break. Team Feldman just scored a 3 to take a 16 lead. And Team Kelble is looking for an answer here. Kelble sweepers are going pretty hard at it. Looks like they're going to be able to draw around. Needs to stick around though. And sticking, is it going to stick around? Looks like it will remain in the house towards the back. Back of the 8th foot. So now Team Feldman up Team Feldman. Looking at whether to draw around or to tap back. It looks like the call ultimately is to perhaps freeze to the rock in the back as that's on the way. I believe that is McGuire. Sweepers were on it, but now they're off. Looks like it's perhaps been it is overcurling a bit. Off. It is just going to drift mostly harmlessly off to the side. I say mostly harmlessly because Ross can come back into play and where's that? That shot showing more shooting. By the cluster in the front of the house, it does shift that blue, but it does roll out. It's definitely shot rock. So now it appears Kelble is hitting 1-2 as this game develops. This is the last run coming from over 2 lines. On it. I'm sure worried about the curl because it does seem to be curling pretty heavy It looks like it's due to fourth. It crashes on the red that was top in the front of the house and rolled out of play. So that was very, very close to being a one-pitch shot. Looks like they're trying to draw around or taps back. That's excellent. I don't think you want to guard. Don't play with that. So it looks like it could be going to the floor if they're on it. It is a guard. So it does kind of close off that pass that Feldman just tried to take. So with his end almost more than halfway over, kind of looking to see what the situation might be. Feldman can kind of start clearing counters. It's going to be very tricky to use that right side of the field just because there's so many guards kind of going to the top of the house and play. So it looks like play has moved to the left side for the most part, unless a large cleaning hasn't happened. But it looks like they were able to do the tap here and escorted out of the building, out of the house, just like unwelcome house guests overstaying their welcome, I think. The Kelble one's halfway, trying to return the favor. With Nancy Dias' first shot of this end. Following down. up, and unfortunately it might not get enough. It might get a piece of it. It does tip it. Sweepers are trying to get it out, and the war room is suitably impressed at the sweeping to get that shell into the 12 foot. Looking at the overhead, it looks like these guys push that past the shot rod back to the 12 foot. Feldman is doing the draw again. Looks like it's going to be a switch heavy, and Kelble is going to shoot it actually take it out of the house and sweep it to the back of the 12 foot. So perhaps not a consideration for this end. Just going away from it. The last shot coming from Nancy Dice. Supers are on it. It looks heavy. So looks like they're maybe going to make contact on the blue. They just kissed the blue. Not like a teddy kiss, like a kissing your grandparents. So, Katie Feldman's about to take her first of the 2 skip stones in this end. They do not have a hammer. They have a 4-point lead, but in this end they do not have the shot stone. Looks like they're probably going to try and draw around. There is a significant amount of cover in the front center of the house, so they can draw around those guards. Although the curl has been kind of fooling these teams going in this direction. So we'll see if they have the right curl dialed up. Pounding the ice in front of the weight's pretty good. They just keep going. It's going to be a little light. Guard to the top center, south center of the house. So now, Kelble to the first of the 2 skip stones from the hammer. A chance to draw in and stick 2 under cover and make it really, really hard for Feldman to negate. bit of a missed opportunity to touch Feldman looking to see what they can do here. So the broom's down. Looks like they're probably going to do a draw. looking at the other game, the game is in the fifth end break. It appears that Coyotes put up a bit of a crooked number with a 5-ender. They are up 9-2 at the 5-end intermission. Back on the feature sheets, Katie Feldman's about to take her last shot of the end for a draw. I think they need to be. The weight's obviously going to be a concern because it looks like it's easy to be pretty heavy on this path. That they've lost a couple of shots to come up light. This one is going to be on the heavy end of things. It needs to sit down, but it is going to sit down. It will be shot rock. Looks like it's 5 in the 4 foot. So for Team Kelble, the goal is to score, obviously, but they need to be pretty careful on which way to hit the rock. If they hit, I mean, it looks like a pretty open hit. Anything that's not, you want to be center or on the right side of the stone. You don't want to be on the left side of the stone for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is to run the blue stone onto the red that's in the back, and that would just be a disaster for Team Kelble. The other thing is that if you're too far to the left, you might roll too far of the red, and oh, sorry. Team Kelble is red. You don't want to roll too far and out-count the blue that's on the right side of the house. So here we go. Last shot. Fifth end. Team Kelble with a chance for the they were on it. They're off. Needs to make sure it's needs to curl. The angle needs to be right. And it's just on the right side of the rock, and they secure their deuce. I mean, they definitely have one in the hand. The vices are looking at the shots from the outer 8 foot in the back. And we have our first measure of the tournament. And the measure bar is already out on the ice. It doesn't get more exciting than this, folks. As we have a measure between those two. Or maybe 3, actually. There's one at the top of the house. It's not so fairly close. Although I thought that red, I'll count that one. So we do have the measure underway. So we have an overhead camera, but it can't zoom in like they do on TV, which is a bit of a bummer. You guys have $4,000, so we need the overhead cameras. Hey, it's red. So maybe do it again just to be sure. And we're going to go around again, just like the merry-go-round, the curling team merry-go-round. That's definitely not that one. Just spin the dial again to about 4 o'clock. And it's red all day. So Team Kelble secures the deuce to get 2 back as we take a 10-minute break here. And we'll be right back in just a moment as coverage continues of the 2022 MoPac Playdowns here at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. again, folks, we're about to start the sixth end of what's turned into a very exciting curling match between Team Kelble of Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling and Team Feldman of Wine Country. Wine Country has been able to take advantage of having the hammer. After giving up an early steal in the first end, they were able to get a 3 in the second and this in the fourth end. And Team Lake Tahoe, Kelble, has slowly clawed its way back into the game, scoring a deuce going to the fifth end break. And so now Team Feldman has the hammer as we get action underway in the sixth end. As I mentioned before, this is an event that leads to a USA Curling Nationals, so they are playing by the competitive rules. And that includes 10 ends of play, and also with a minimum of 6. They're also using the competitive orange broom pads, which are well renowned for their inability to not be effective. That's why the fabric was chosen. And some other things that might come out. Oh yes, thinking time. Thinking time's been only an issue once so far, where it's 30 seconds to throw the last draw. Here comes the next stone from Chris Sullivan of Team Kelble. Coming up tonight in our evening draw, we're going to see Team Feldman once again as they take on Team Coots from Hollywood Curling. That is going to be on the feature sheet at around 6:30 p.m. On sheet B, Team Kelble will face Team Burton from Coyotes. And that's coming up tonight here from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling and on the MoPac YouTube channel. Next run coming towards Team Kelble, and they are sweeping the heck out of this draw. Maybe concerned that it was quite out of hand. It looks like the weight is there, and it might actually arguably be overcooked. They wanted to do a takeout. Yeah. They made some contact, got a bit of a hit and roll, and they were able to roll under cover. So now Team Kelble wants to draw around. Like they made contact with so Feldman looks like they are going to try and draw under the cover there. We have that's rock coming Elizabeth Wire. Katie Feldman did not want the sweepers on it, holding up the stop sign, the universal sign for stop. This is walking down. It looks to be maybe just a smidge heavy. It's also a tad wide. So it is going to be about tee weight, just in front of the tee, but it is pretty exposed. And if you want to go crazy, you can try and double those out. Have the next shot coming from Kelly Morisuti. The line looks pretty good from where Kelble has the broom down, although it looks to be a bit heavy and Team Feldman is going to sweep it out of play. So now Team Feldman is sitting two. They do have the hammer at this end. So looking to perhaps secure there too by putting up a tight guard or in the house. First shot comes from Laura Lunetta. Definitely looks to be a guard. And pretty much right where Feldman wanted it. So as well as he took the shot. Now Kelble is looking to attack ways do a left back of the center guard. And the woman who is going to be doing that is Tobias and some guys. Militsky. Thank you. Shots underway. Sweepers are on it. It looks like it might be over curling. And it's probably going to trash on the blue and run the blue into the 4-foot into the button. So a bit of a miss for Kelble. And Feldman has a very golden opportunity here. Although Team Kelble does have the possibility to run back a couple reds that are guarding the front of the house. But we will see the next shot coming from Laura Lunetta. Feldman's calling the sweepers off. Let's be a bit heavy again. Maybe chipping off the red is the outcome. So you have a somewhat standard guard for Team Kelble in front of the house, but it looks like Team Kelble can get to them. So it's not going to stop Kelble from trying to run back. See the next shot coming from Nancy. On it again. It looks like it's over curling again, although it's going to make some contact. It's going to essentially clear the rocks out of the center, which I think is a potentially positive outcome, because one of the rules in curling is that you can't block every passage to the house, and so now it clears up several possible paths to minimize the count and minimize the scoring for Team Kelble. Team Feldman's next shot from Laura Lunetta is going to be a guard. And pretty close guard. So now the center is open and facing 3. Team Kelble is going to make some sort of play on there, and that makes a lot of sense to reduce the counters and to hopefully open up the center so they can get a shot in on their last stone. Next guys has the blue down 4 with that trouble. As you can see in the background of this shot, we do have the thinking time clocks, as I mentioned at the top. Each team was given 38 minutes of thinking time for the entirety of a 10-inning game. If the game goes to extras, they get extra time. Teams also during regulation get 1 timeout, normally a minute, but with the coach in the field, all the teams have been given 90 seconds to help enable the coach to get onto the ice and offer his overt advice. Here's the next shot, the first skip stone coming from Kelble. And they tipped out 1 and rolled off to the side. So a somewhat positive outcome for Team Kelble. especially when you look to see that while Team Feldman has the first and second shots, there's a lot of red in the outer ring that could possibly be brought into play. So it looks like they're trying to guard, and it's a bit of a couple. It looks like she's 5, and she's getting back into the hat. So, making the guard makes a certain amount of sense, but it almost could make more sense to try into the top of the house, because it would only, like, unless the team is really effective at doing takeouts, it could be as effective as a guard. The downside would be that you know, the rod could be in play, but that guard over curled a bit, and so now Team Kelble is facing an open center to try and it looks like they might try the double, which would make sense. And if they successfully execute the double, they don't even need to keep the shooter because keeping the they would be sitting 3, maybe 4. One of the things that would make this double tricky is that there is that red on the outer edge of the 8-foot on the right side, and if they hit it at the wrong angle, it can and leave that blue hanging around. Here we go. This is Team Kelble's last from skip Rebecca Kelble. Almost out of hand. Needs to get there. It's over curling, and it's going to stick around. But now it appears that the door is open for Katie Feldman to get a triple out of this, or at the very least a deuce. They have a deuce in the pocket, and they are in position with their draw to get 3. Just an update on the B game. They shook hands after sit heads, and the final was 12-2 in favor of Cameron Potter. So they are now 4-0 on this double round robin. So Team Burton is sitting in a very comfortable position with 2 games to go. We have an evening game and we have a night game, morning game.
Say something positive. You're gonna get ready.
Here's the final shots coming from Katie Feldman. Needs to be solidly 8-foot to get that 3. Shooters are on it now. Looks like it's curling up a bit. Maybe it needs to keep going. Could be a little light if they don't, they need to keep shooting. All the way, ladies. All the way, and they are there. They got the 3. Unless they want to do a measure. So that's another 3 for Team Feldman, making the score 9-4 as we head into the 7th end. And now we're going to have someone from the war room sing God Bless America. obviously, one thing that happens in curling is that we compare ends to innings in baseball. And so we don't have a 7-inning stretch though. So maybe we need to make that happen. We have ended gear sales though. Speaking of beer, the concessions are very well stocked here at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. My thanks to them again for hosting the MoPac Women's Club Playdowns. They've been wonderful hosts, very gracious and very helpful, and extremely knowledgeable about the sport. So here we are in the 7th end, the first rock coming from Team Feldman's lead, Chris Kelble. And while we're here,
Thank you.
just a reminder that she started curling in 2017. She loves sweeping, throwing guards, penguins, hiding from her mother-in-law, and hanging out with her son Colton at the pool or at band parades. Chris's first shot was a relatively tight guard. Here comes the first shot from lead Chris Sullivan. It's coming down. Looks to be a smidge heavy. It is around the guard. It looks like it's going to hang around in the front of the house, actually, just in front of the tee line. And so Katie Feldman of Team Feldman wants to just kind of draw down to it. And we will see if Chris Kelble can deliver. So sweepers are on it. The weight looks pretty good, although it might crash on the guard. It is going to be on the guard and rub off it just slightly and put up another center guard essentially. So now Kelble wants to draw around from the other side. And we will see what Shelly or Susie can do. On it. It might have been Chris Sullivan, my apologies. It was Chris Sullivan. More cities up next. Stay tuned. So the first rock coming from Melissa McGuire at the Team Feldman. She is apparently afraid of the movie Hocus Pocus, which I have not seen, so I don't know if it's scary or not. But Bette Midler's in it, so it has to be scary. And this rock appears to be maybe a smidge heavy and is going to go through the house and out of play. Kelble looks to be in a pretty good situation this end. Although having the hammer, again, for an offensive strategy, you want to try and play to the wings to set up a multiple score end. Looks like they're going to try and draw towards the center. Draw into that pile in the front of the house. So for Team Feldman, Katie Feldman, for defensive strategy, you want to try and draw play to the center of the house and shrink the scoring area, make it harder for the other team to score. And that appears to be what Feldman is attempting to do with this draw. flyer. Sweepers are just cleaning, or just falling down. It looks like it's going to over curl and go into the pile. So you can call that a quarry because that was a lot of rock. So looks like both teams are trying to do that draw to the center just from Kelbe on the right side. Super on it. Looks like there was more ice this time. Although it is going towards the pile. And will settle comfortably in the pile as it is now a retirement community for Old Rock. So this is we're not going to try to draw again. There's not going to be any practical way for these teams to clear out that many rocks this late in the game. So as soon as both teams are down into this draw game, as you see the first rock coming from Laura Netta. Looks like there's more ice this time. Definitely going to get around those guards if the weight is right, but the weight seems to be a tad light, and so the rock pile is expanding. Which it does benefit Feldman to have a lot of rocks in front of the house because it just makes it harder for Kelble to get into the house and score multiple points. And here comes the first shot from Nancy Dice. Definitely had more ice this time. Going to get around the pile. The weight seems to be right. The little kiss off the blue, and they are now sitting 2 in the upper right 4-foot area. So, took a while, but they found the right line and the right weight. And now it looks like Team Feldman is going to try and just kind of lock one on. Although, I mean, throwing weight at it could be more effective. I mean, you would at least reduce some of the counters. Depending on how much weight. I mean, the potential downside would be to promote the red further under the cover, which is it's like a Gibraltar out in front of the house. It's a solid rock base, so you don't want to tap anything further under that cover. But it looks like they threw a bit of weight at it. I'm going to guess close to half weight. Maybe not that much. Fairly heavy. Now they're going. It needs to make contact, and they're going to get one. And it is partially covered by Gibraltar.
Whatever your name is there in the brown shirt.
And the shooter did roll to the water as well, but it was third shot and not outcounting the 2 Kelble shots in the house. So here comes Nancy Dice's last of this end. So they have something good cooking. Let's see if they can finish the meal. They're scooping hard. It's going to be a guard or a hawk, which is another way of saying a guard that's not a guard, a hawk. So, fun Scottish fact. Apparently, that's what they called the run to the litter back in the day, and that's apparently where they left them to die and perish on that hog line. So, not everything in Scottish is fun, apparently. But curling is fun. That's what Scottish team is fun. Also fun. So. Team Feldman facing 2. They are up 5, so they can afford to perhaps give up a couple here. They probably definitely don't want to give up more than that. So it looks like they might want to try and chip that red out, that sitting shot. Perhaps roll their shooter to the side and they jam on the blue that's on the side and possibly the shot frozen on the left side. Also, a fun fact about curling, it's not actually named after the rotation of the stone, because when the sport started, they were playing on frozen rivers and lakes, and the fascinating thing about that was that they were able to get the rocks down the ice, not worrying about the rotation. The rotation came later. So the name curling comes from the sound that the rocks make as the stone travels on the ice. Apparently in Scottish it's like a curve sound, so curve, also a fun part. So that's where curling apparently just came from, was the sound, the roar of the stones on the ice. So fun fact of the day, takes it to the bank. They can say, why did you kick it here? So Feldman's first shot, looks like it moves some rocks around, but the essential status of Kelble setting 2 is remaining.
In front of our red one. So just on the other side.
It looks like they're just trying to draw in. I would wonder if it's possible to get a cricket number than this maybe by playing on the left side of the sheet. Although the left side seems to be curling up a lot compared to this side. But they're drawing on this side, and we will see what happens. This will be a stitch heavy, but it's going to sit down. It's sit down behind the tee line. And now they're sitting 3. Kelble does have the hammer, so they have one more opportunity. Well, Feldman is going to see what they can do to minimize the damage of it. One possibility would just to be kind of perhaps freeze on the stone that's furthest to the right on the tee line. If they're sitting just inside of that, they would be sitting second shot, then it would be pretty difficult for Kelble to remove. I think they're going to be doing just a takeout, maybe a hit and roll. If they hit and roll under the Gibraltar of guards, then that could also be a very positive outcome. Here we go, last shot from Feldman here in the 7th end. Sweepers are on it. Now they're off. Now they're going hard. It looks like they got the hit and roll, but it rolled the other way. So they are sitting. They did cut them down to 1 as the roll jammed on the blue that was on the outside 12. And so now Kelble just has the 1. However, if Kelble gets rid of the blue that is on the outer 8 on the right side, then they're going to be able to get there. So it's kind of fascinating. We started with a lot of draws, and now we're doing a takeout game to finish the end. So here we go. Last shot. 7th end. We're back at Kelble. 4-3. Sweepers are not making room on it. It looks like it might actually hit red. That's 6 shots. And roll. So it appears they definitely have two in the pocket, and likely the third. And we were doing another measure because if you do it one more time, the third one's free, apparently. So call the official onto the ice. Team Kelble, Team Keble's been answering the bell, as it were, with trying to get multiple points out of the Heaven Hamlet. And they definitely have two, with a chance for three. We're just going to see what comes up with this measure and what happens in just a second. Just a reminder of tonight's game here at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. Tonight we have on the feature sheet Team Feldman once again taking on Team Coops from Hollywood Curling. And then we will have Team Kelble that we're watching right now face Team Burton, the undefeated Team Burton on Sheet B. That's tonight at 6:30 on many of your fine local television stations. So here comes the ice official trying to do another measure. Just a friendly reminder that this broadcast is presented by authority of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. But if you ask nicely, we'll let you. Here we go for the measure. From here it looks to be red, from the overhead it looks to be red, and we'll have to see what the measure says, but the measure's going to say red. And it's red. So that's 3 red for Team Kelble. Way to hate me with this game. So now it's just a 2-point lead for Team Feldman as we head into the 8th match. And we'll be back in just a moment. And we are back here. We're back here at the 2022 MoPac Women's Club Playdowns at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. We just saw Team Kelble of Lake Tahoe take a 3-ender here in the 7th. We're now in the 8th with Team Feldman from Wine Country Curling Club holding a 2-point lead. The score being 9-7. So Feldman has the hammer. Team Kelble threw their first rock as a tight guard. Again, hewing to the principle of a good defense is controlling the center of the house. Chris Bilbray has her first for Team Feldman. And it looks like they're going to do the best offense, which is running around the guard that was just put up. The best, good offense is to go to the wing. But, that's actually looks to be a bit wide for him, shall we say. It will be a guard. It was close. So we got 2 centric guards. As Chris Sullivan is ready to throw her second stone. Kelble would draw around at this point. There's up to 3 ends to go in this game, barring an extra end. So Kelble does have an opportunity to, get back to this game. And it looks like they are going to draw around the guard and be under cover. Looks to be about half covered by the center guard. And so for Team Feldman, it looks like they just want to get rid of that stone, perhaps hit and roll. And we will see the next shot coming from Chris Sullivan. rock over curled. It's going to kind of chip the blue into the house, so that could come into play later. But the shot rock from Team Kelble is pretty well covered now by the two centers. So next rock coming from the second Team Kelble, showing perhaps try and draw around. I don't think they wanted to guard. But it is over curling, and actually it might no, it's probably not going to curl enough or be far enough. It's a very high guard just over the hog line. So now it is time for clearing the guards as Feldman has the room set up to start clearing some of those center guards. Here comes the shots from Goliath. They're on it, they're sweeping. Looks like it's going to get one out of the way, it's going to be theirs. But it's going to roll onto the center guard. So they did not effectively eliminate the center guards, I would say. Especially because now there's staggered center guards in front of the house. So here's a more Sudi's second. And I think they just want to draw in again, or put up a guard. I think drawing makes more sense. It is going to draw towards the center and kind of be in the center pile, which is not going to be a repeat of the last name. So it could be. So definitely a bit of a Christmas tree here in the front of the house. Feldman wants to try and clear those out some more. However, the alternative is to draw around, and that is what they're going to do. From Melissa McGuire. So the line seems to be pretty good, just based on how many of these rocks are getting towards the center. It's just a matter of the weight, just coming up a smidge light. Here, again, the rock is going to over curl and go into the pile. It might move some stuff around. It did unlock the staggered center guard, but there's just another rock pile that's on the house. And Team Kelble is content to keep it that way. As she gestures for Vice Nancy Dice to just put one right in the top of the house. Giving a little bit more ice than what we've been doing so far. It looks like Nancy is able to do that. It is curling up a bit. They're sweeping perhaps both for line and weight. It's dove. It is diving into the pile and pushed the blue closer towards the house, but really no harm done. And now we're getting to the point where Feldman is looking for some tricky shots, contemplating an in-off of the blue that they have at around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the top 12. However, it looks like it might be time for... I think they're going to try the in-off. So here comes the shot from Laura Bonetta. Looked pretty close, but it's starting to dive. And it might be, they're trying to hold it. Now they're trying to bend it a little bit more towards the red. So they contacted the red in front of the house and rolled inoffensively to the side, outside of the house on the left side. So the the path to the center of the house is pretty open. Team Kelble got there first, but there definitely seems to be paths to the center on both sides. Even though most of the action this end has been on the left side of the sheet, towards the wall. Here is the last shot from Nancy Dice. Looks to be a bit heavy. It's curling up and slowing down. And it is going to get pretty much almost where Kelble wanted it finished really strongly. So now for Feldman, now they're facing two. And making some sort of hit would be excellent. If they hit on the inside, and given how these rocks finish, they could probably get to the inside, and they probably wouldn't get to the inside enough. So maybe try to hit on the outside and doubling the rocks out that way. And you'll see what Laura Lunetta can do. Throwing a bit of heat at it. Starting to curl now. Sweepers are running to catch up. It's really curling. Trying to hold the line. It's going to get one. Oh, it jammed on the yellow. Oh, sorry, the red in front of the house. It had a bit of a pinball action and settled into the back base. So it was super close. Now for Team Kelble, and Rebecca Kelble's first. I think it looks like they wanted to put another one into the path at the top of the house, the path towards the button on the left side of the house. There hasn't been a lot of looking at the right side of the sheet, and if I were Feldman, I would maybe just make a move now to try and get to the button from the right side, especially because you might need two shots to have the right weight in line. But here comes the first snipstones from Rebecca Kelble. Threw a decent amount of weight at this shot. Starting to curl up, and it looks like they're probably going to try and make a play on the blue in the back, but it is curling up a bunch, and is actually going to curl past it and curl towards the back is touching the 12. So now Feldman's looking at making a play on that red in the top 8. And they were very close last time, so it looks like they're just trying another crack at this. The potential disadvantage is that there is now a red in the back of the house, and so if they hit it at the wrong angle, it could jam, and depending on how the rocks play out, if that red could be another counter for Team Kelble, out-counting the blue that's hanging out in the middle of the 8 foot behind the tee line. Laura Lunetta has the broom down for Katie Feldman's first year in the 8th end. Sweepers are on it. Needs to curl up, essentially more likely to hit theirs. And it might actually roll on. Needed to curl up a little bit more actually. So it was just a hit and stick. I hadn't thought about that as an option. So they were going to try to perhaps hit and roll under the 2 reds, on the button. So that was very close to being executed. Or if it was a plan B, that was a pretty good plan B. One of the things about curling is that you should always have an ideal shot in mind, but you should also have a plan B, or as what top curler Russ Howard says, a pro side miss. So have an ideal shot of a pro side miss, and hopefully that will get you far in this sport. And of course, there's some situations where there isn't a pro side miss, and you just have to kind of take, you either have to make your shot or take your lumps. Here comes the last shot now from Rebecca Kelble here in the 8th. Sweepers were on it, now they're walking it down. Looks like they're going to play, hit the blue out, but it's going to tap the red. But still a fairly successful shot for Kelble as they now sit 3. And Katie Feldman doesn't necessarily have a great path to the button on that side that they were on. But now they're looking at the right sides, which is a pretty open option. However, the teams haven't moved down this path this end, and also the ice may have changed because one of the teams left the ice after the 6th end. Curling is fascinating because we've worked so hard on maintaining great ice conditions, so they can change very dramatically if there's a crowd of people or teams with the ice. In this case, you have half as many people on the ice as you did 25 minutes ago, or half an hour ago. So here we go. Here is Katie Feldman's hammer shot. We need a draw. Needs to be almost close to full 4 foot. It is curling a little bit. It is a light, but the sweepers are on it. It needs to get there. It needs to curl. And it will get there. Oh! It stopped just in time. So, after so many rocks in play, it comes down to a simple draw toward the button by Katie Feldman for a successful draw for 1. And she will take a 3-point lead into the 9th man. Team Kelble has a hammer. When we come back in just a moment here at the 2022 MoPac Women's Club Playdowns at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling.
It's all right. You can rest on your legs. It's all right. Focus.
Underway here in the 9th end. Team Feldman from Wine Country Curling Club has a 3-point lead over Team Kelble from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. Another advantage for Team Feldman is that they are controlling the hammer in the even end. And it looks like they successfully executed a mid guard near the center line. And Team Kelble is, it appears they're going to try and draw around that, as we have the first shot coming from Chris Sullivan. Weight looks to be a touch heavy, but it hopefully won't be a guard. I say hopefully because we've had a lot of guards these past couple minutes. But if it guards the right play, it guards the right play. But in this case, the weight is pretty solid. It's going to get to the top of the house and behind cover that was put up by Team Feldman. So Kelble sitting to 1. And Feldman wants to follow Kelble down to the button. Again, executing sound curling defensive strategy to control the center of the house, the front center of the house. that's a question of weight. The weight seems to be fairly good. Although it lost a little bit as it neared the house, and it's going to kiss up against the Kelble red. I just sitting shot right now, but we are continuing to draw, like a kindergarten class of crowns. Second shot, the weight's pretty good, the line's pretty good. It's looks like it's gonna curl around those guards. Just barely. The Rutson house, they've recovered 9 yards. And that stone is just around a fifth buried. So it is accessible if Team Feldman wished. But it looks like they also want to draw again. Even like a draw attack might be good, get the red out of play, and then hopefully stitch the shooter somewhere in the house where it can be used later. The weight is pretty close to backline weight. It's going to tap their blue actually, and it's going to tap their blue towards the top of the forefoot, and they're sitting shot about, if I were to guess, it's about 2/5 buried, and Kelble wants to make a play on it with Shelly Morisuki. Sweepers are going. It looks like it's going to be based on the broom, where the broom was, it looked like it was going to go outside, but it curled towards the center and tapped the red back towards the top center of the forefoot. It's very, very close between Team Feldman and Team Kelble. Drawn from the overhead, it looks like it might be Team Feldman by about half inch. And we will see what Feldman has dialed up for the next shot from Melissa McGuire. So they wanted a draw. They're going to get a draw. Weight seems pretty good. Needs to curl just a little bit more, or not, it needs to stay straight, sorry. It did wreck on the top red in the house and rolled off to the side. Kelble wants to draw toward in front of the blue, which is a tricky shot, and possibly could tap the blue further into the house. Kelble's waving them off. And it's going to wreck on the top blue in the guard zone. So now Feldman's sitting 1 and is in a position to perhaps steal this end from Kelble. Looking to perhaps maybe do a little either a direct draw or a little rub and roll towards the center. Lower Lunetta's rock is away. Sweepers are going. Looks like it's going to be close. Weight's maybe not there. And it's just going to kind of clog up the fort towards the button on the left side. So for Kelble could perhaps try the hit and roll on the left, especially because there's, depending on how they hit it, there's at least some area to roll towards. Kelble is looking at a shot on the left side, although I think she was more going to try and do a tap and run back. Here comes the shot from Nancy Dice. It is up weights. I think definitely here to move a lot of granite. Sweepers are not on it. Looks like it's going to kind of, it looks there, it's close. And the weight pushed the red all the way through the house. So, and then now the stones are maybe not necessarily lined up for Kelble to repeat that shot in the next attempt. So it looks like Feldman wants to just kind of guard up that path and just say, hey, don't even try it. And the sweepers are going for Netta's last. Now sweepers are off. Guard. It is pretty close to where Feldman has her broom. And so there's a bit of a mess there in front of the house again. Although it's not in front of the house, the rocks are in the house and they're in play. And actually, this could be this could be the game right here. With Nancy Dice throwing, because it looks like Kelble wants to kind of like run a lot of red and blues onto that red and get the red out of play, or no, get the red into a better position. But if the red goes out of play or in a position where it's not usable, blue to be sitting a lot here. But it looks like it's going to be a smidge outside. It's going to be some content. They got it out of play. Or no, the red out of a better position. That might be the shot they want to play. Or in a position where it's not usable. The shot would be flip the outside and run tap a lot of those back onto the red content. The red down on the blue and ricochet towards the button. So that might be the pro side of this, or that might be the shot they want. So now for Feldman has a 3-point lead. They do have the potential to control the hammer in the even ends by just conceding the one here, and they would be up 2 with the hammer coming home, which is a very solid position for Feldman to be in strategy-wise. It looks like they're down in the draw. I don't think they want to move that blue. I think they just want to block the path, but it's they could possibly want to move the blue. And Katie Feldman's first shot is away. The sweepers are not touching it now, they're going. It's starting to curl. Looks like they were going to go for the guard. They have that guard in a pretty solid position, because also they've also maybe wanted to prevent red team Kelble from trying to run back that red that's at the top of the house towards the button. So now both halves to the button are pretty well covered, especially by blue rocks. There's only one half that Team Kelble could access with the red rocks, and that is on the right side. And so they're lining up a shot to try and, I think, clear a path or move the red in towards the button. Quick check of the time. They have 6.5 minutes remaining to play an end and a half, or an end and 2 sets. So they have plenty of time, and I don't think they called the timeout. So time management is not an issue here unless they rush the shots.
It like went perfectly, and I was like, what?
So it looks like Team Kelble is set up to they had the broom on their table line, which is usually an indication of either a guard or a draw. I thought they wanted to do a hit. I'm not quite sure what they want with this shot, but we are going to find out as Rebecca Kelble gets underway. Looks like it might be over curling. So they're going to make contact. They're going to make contact with the blue. Push the blue towards the top of the ball square.
Don't give it to us yet.
So perhaps mission accomplished for Team Kelble because they have set up a possible double run back to score a multiple end. Or, they didn't have to watch out for a potential disaster shot. If they hit it incorrectly, they could, hit and roll their stones out of position and give up a steal. But it doesn't appear to be too bad of a situation. And I think it looks like Feldman is just going to, deny that opportunity to Team Kelble, which makes a lot of sense. And for Team Feldman, they have just over 8 minutes to play an end and 1 stone. So they have plenty of time as well as Katie Feldman throws her last here in the second match. Looks to be maybe a touch heavier than a guard, and it's going to whip off of the red and go to the side. So that double run back does not seem to be a viable option. Perhaps for Team Kelble, they could hit and roll towards the button and get a boost that way, and that seems to be what they might be lining up. If you see most of that blue that is on the upper 8 foot, pardon me, just outside the 4 foot, and if they hit it just past the center, they could probably get a pretty good roll out of it, and they just need to out count if they do that, they just need to out count the blue that is sitting solid 8 foot. Those seem to be the shot that they've lined up. I'm not really seeing other options for Team Kelble to get a juice out of this. They do have one in the pocket. Here we go. The hammer from Rebecca Kelble in the 19. Shoot it hard just to make sure it doesn't overcurl, but it's going to wick off of their own at the top of the edge zone. Missed opportunity to get a juice, although it was a very cheap shot. So Team Kelble adds 1, and score coming home. The 10 is going to be Team Feldman 10, Team Kelble 8. We have Team Feldman and Hammer. We'll be right back as we continue with the 2022 MoPac Women's Club Playdowns here at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. Live streaming of this and other regional competitions is powered by the 18 clubs and 1,500 members of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. Our mission serves to grow curling and foster competition in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. Visit mopacca.org today to find a curling club near you or for help getting a club started in your community. And again, that address is mopacca.org. We are headed to the final end here, barring an extra end. Team Feldman is up 2 with the hammer coming home, which is a strategically solid position for a team to be in. Team Kelble is going to try and steal here. Kelble is going to go for the center guard. He's going to over curl, perhaps. And it's going to get over the hog line by a few inches. But they don't have to pay the pity for hogging the stone. First stone coming from Chris Bilbray for Team Feldman. Looking to get around the guard, but it's going to actually crack onto the guard, perhaps, and tap that back. So with two centers guards, Team Kelbe is got the Kelble, pardon me, is going to go towards the center of the house and draw around. Chris Sullivan's next shot. So the draw around appears to be fairly successful, although it's got a little deep, which will give Feldman some space to work with. Although it looks like Feldman is going to try and draw around and try and draw to the top of the house with Bilbray's second here. Around the guard. It's around the guard. And it needs to be in the house. It's going to be in the house. It's going to be buried. Actually, it's going to peek out the other side. Solid 8 foot, but it's really close to where the red stone ended up relative to the center of the button. Looking at the overhead, Feldman's stone is shot rock. Stones underway from Shelly and Ruthie. So they wanted to draw around again. And this rock is curling a bunch. So it looks like it's going to get undercover. It's not going to dig into the house, so it's going to be another center guard, which Feldman is going to make use of with this next draw attempt to hopefully get towards the 4 foot or the button. Throwing her next. Sweepers are on it. Really going hard. I think it's more of a distance thing than mine. They're sweeping. Now Feldman's coming over to take over, and with her help, they were able to get around the center guard and sit 1-2 under cover. And now for Kelble, they're trying to draw, it looks like, but they need to get into scoring position, and they need to score 2. And I don't know how they're going to steal 2 necessarily with this shot. I guess we'll see how what unfolds with Sudi's second here. Stone's really curling again. Looks like it's going to get around the center guard. And that was going to give what Kelble wanted for the most part, where it's sitting in the top of the 12. Perhaps the opportunity that they were trying to build is a run back, which could make sense. Remove the shot rock and then worry about removing the other blue stone. But it looks like Katie Feldman and Team Feldman wants to remove that opportunity with this shot now coming from Melissa McGuire. These wanted to be top of the house. It looks to be maybe a smidge, I was going to say heavy, but it's not actually. And it's actually going to over curl into the center pile. It looks like it may have been enough to deny Kelble the opportunity to do the run back. And so now Kelble's looking to draw in, although based on the broom, I think she wants to draw it. It looks to be a smidge heavy. It looks to be back to the back of the house. It is curling, and it is flowing actually. So they are sitting shots top of the floor. So well executed shots by Shelly. Feldman wants to get rid of it, which makes sense. But it looks like she doesn't want to throw a lot of weight at it. So she's giving plenty of ice to Laura Luneta. And here we go. Feldman doesn't want the sweepers on it. So they're just following it down. Now they're going. Looks like it's going to curl up a bit, and it's going to actually stay on the outside. It's going to kiss off of the red. So now Kelble's sitting shot, but Team Feldman has the 2-3-4 shots. And so it looks like Kelble wants to just add another one to this mess around the bunch. And here comes Nancy Dice's last shot. Sweepers are going hard. Looks like it's going to be close. It might be a smidge light. It's going to actually end up outside of the house. So. So now Feldman's playing defensively, taking advantage of the fact that she's up 2 by putting up a guard to prevent any sort of run backs. And here comes Laura Luneta's last shot. They're just walking it down. It's going to hit the red. And push the red over to the side. So it's not quite clear what Kelble wants to do here. So they call the timeout, Team Kelble, and drawing some applause from the warm room as the coach enters the ice. He's walking out. He has 30 seconds to get there, and he definitely did it in less than that, 20. So now they have a full 70 seconds to discuss the situation. It's super tricky. I think what they could do is they could maybe roll off of the red on the outside and like. So the board was discussing several strategies.
Okay. So like teammate this way. Okay.
Because they need to get 2 here. It looks like they're doing a decent amount of ice.
It'll be a measure. There's a chance it's going to work. Unless we can't get, well, yeah, that's
So they're looking at different positions. My thought is where the broom is now, maybe like throw. Oh, it's tricky. I was thinking perhaps an out turn and kind of roll off the red into the blue and push the blue out of the way and kind of keep rolling. It looks like they're going to do something. They're probably going to hit the red on the side and tap the blue out of the way. It would help the situation for a final stone, but they would still only be seeing for 1, it appears. So the timeout over. Rebecca Kelble settling into the hatch for her first of 2 skip rounds. Shots underway. Wait looks to be back of the house at the hatch. It's curling up a bunch. It's going to curl into the pile a bit. And it did not make contact on the blue. So for Feldman, they need to, keep Kelble from scoring 2 or more. Feldman has about 6 minutes remaining on her clock. Team Kelble has just under 80 seconds. So they're looking over the shots here, and it looks like they're going to try and just kind of block that path towards where all the action is in the top right side of the forefoot here. Plan B, it looks like they're going to just try and wick off and still block that path. So a couple ways to make that shot as Katie Feldman gets ready to deliver her final stone in this 10th inning. A quick reminder, tonight's games are going to be at 6:30-ish. On the feature sheet, we're going to have Team Feldman versus Hoops, and on the D sheet, we'll have Team Kelble facing Team Burton. That's coming up at 6:30 here at Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. So they're just looking to make sure they're solid on the shot, and here we go. The line's probably the most important part of the shot, and it looks like it is curling a bit. So, and it's a tad light. It's over curling, and I think it's completely over curled. So now, for Team Kelble, they need to get rid of that blue, and if they get rid of that blue without disrupting the red that's biting the forefoot, they'll have tied the game and bring to an extra inning. a very tricky shot. 40 seconds, but that's plenty of time to get a shot off. And this is it for at least a 2 and a tie with a bit of luck, maybe more, but here we go. The line is the most important part. Sweepers are going. Sweepers are on it. And they got it.
But that was a lonely shot.
So that is almost 2. And is the most important part. Sweepers are going. Sweepers are on it. Replay. That's a really great shot. And they got it. Definitely what they needed, what they wanted. So Feldman has a hammer, so this is a tricky shot. But if they get rid of one red, they will win the day. So Laura Lunetta has the broom now, as Katie Feldman goes towards the hat. So now the pressure's on Feldman, and needs to get rid of at least one. I don't think they at the worst is going to be a tie, and they would have the hammer in the extra end. Here we go. Last ball, 10-10. Facing 2 for the win. Sweeping it, it's wide, and so unfortunately looks to be a miss from Team Feldman. And anticipating the situation, the head ice official is going to set the measure. So Kelble has definitely one in the pocket, and now we're doing a measure for the second one. From the overhead, this looks to be probably one of the toughest measures yet. And this measure is extremely important. If the measure is a tie, that means that no one would get that extra point for that rock. So Kelble needs to win this measure or the game is over. If Kelble does win the measurement, that means it's a tie and we go to an extra 11th end. And now we're going for the next most exciting thing about curling is the measurement. When you do a learn to curl, they teach like how to deliver a rock, how to sweep, and like how to measure the stone. They actually don't teach how to measure the stone, but it's a fun thing to do. So the head ice official's on the ice. From the overhead, it looks very close. If I were to have it again, it would be.
Go back and forth.
I
would say almost like 70% red, but we shall see as the measure is underway. And it's very difficult to tell for the angle that we have on our camera. I apologize for that. So looks like they have it dialed in.
Oh, wow.
now they're going to red.
Well, guess what, gang?
And it's red. So Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling Team Kelble has tied the game up. We are going to go to an extra end. Feldman has the hammer as we will continue in just a moment here at the 2022 MoPac Women's Club Playdowns. Be back in a moment. So Rocks in play. We're underway here at an extra end between Team Feldman from Wine Country Curling and Team Kelble from Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling. Just a fascinating game so far. Team Feldman had the advantage for most of the game, but Team Kelble has clawed their way back to steal 2 in the 10th to force this extra end. Team Feldman does have the hammer advantage not coming home because they're going away, but they do have the advantage here as we will see who shall win this. The rules for an extra end, the taking time has been reset to 4 minutes 30 seconds, and each team does have an additional 1 timeout for this extra end, 90 seconds. And I say 1 extra, it's separate from the regulation timeout. You can't bank timeouts. But that shot from Feldman is around the center guard. Here comes, yes, here comes that was Kelble's red stone that is sitting on. Feldman is coming out to help sweep this next stone, and they are taking an effort to get it into the house, and they are able to do it. It is biting to 8 foot, and it is in a position where they could use it to run back onto that red. So Kelble wants to make sure that option is denied with this next stone. So if you tuned in today, you tuned into a great one, and I'm glad you're here. I definitely know the teams appreciate people watching these games. We hope we're keeping finding some great curling and some awesome teams as this next stone comes in for Kelble. That looks to be a high guard. So Team Feldman just wants to draw to draw around the guard to the top of the floor, it appears. The sweeper's floor Feldman are just walking that stone down. Weight-wise, it looks to be pretty close. Now they're giving it some polish, and the weight's just pretty good. The line is pretty awesome, and they're able to do around that center guard and sit second shot. Kelble is going to try and keep blocking the path for Feldman to try and utilize those stones that they're putting into play. This is that stone coming from Kelly or Sudi for Kelble. Bit of a wobble. And it looks like this shot's going to be most of the hit, but hopefully the safety of the players is the most important. So it is going to hang around. And it looks like Feldman wants to go to the other side of the street. Next up coming from Melissa McGuire. Have to watch out for over curling, and it looks like it is going to over curl into the center guard that's at the very top of the guard zone. And so for Kelble, just putting another one in at the top of the house to deny a possible run back from Team Feldman. Here is the first shot coming from Nancy Dice. Walking it down. The weight's going to be a smidge lighter than what was wanted, but it definitely does block that path. Forcing Feldman to kind of go back to the right side and hopefully giving a little bit more ice, a little bit more weight to see if they can execute the shot this time by Laura Netta. Definitely looks like they have the weight dialed in. Sweepers are on it. So it looks like it's going to tap back the blue and not necessarily too dramatically change the situation. And now Kelble wants to block things up. Here is the last rock coming from Nancy Dice. Over curling a smidge, but it definitely lost the path. So now for Feldman is still trying to draw around. I don't necessarily know how successful that would be because they need to be sitting shot at the end of this. Lunetta's next shot actually looks to be a bit heavier than the last one. The sweepers aren't on it. It looks to be a little on the outside, so it needs to curl in. The other option would be to, put one kind of in the top 12 and kind of do an in-off, but that stone's gone through. And so now it looks like for Kelble to just kind of put up another guard and made it super, super tricky to make something happen. So So looks like Kelble just wants to put one on like a guard or in the outer 12 foot. Looking at this angle, looking down the center line, it's possible perhaps for Feldman to throw keys down the middle and get lucky.
I don't want it in the house.
do a tap tap. Do the angle off of their blue that's sitting in the 8 foot, and then kind of ricochet out that into the red, and that could be how they get their point. It's a tricky shot, definitely a lot harder than what a lot of these shots have been, but that might be the shot for the win. So here's Kelble's first shot. Like the line's pretty good. Like they just want to be in the top of the 12 or a guard. It's going to be a guard. So now for Feldman. Feldman calls the timeout. So timeout. The team is gathering. Looking at their clock, they have 90 seconds to discuss this in timeout. I think we're doing pretty well on time, but it's probably best to make sure they're making the right call, and they have the time to do so. So the teams gathered on the scoring end of the sheets and trying to see what options there are. Like I said, that path down the middle seems to be the best bet. You know, you'd have to throw a missile to make sure it doesn't curl too far. But there's not a lot of other options, and perhaps if they miss, they could clear a path to make another attempt in their last. So they're looking at a couple different options. One of them is looking perhaps at the shot, like doing a very long run back from the guards near the hog line, just to the left of the center. Katie Feldman, the skiff, is looking at that tap run back in off raise. I don't quite know what you would call it. Their timeout has expired. They have 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining or so to get 2 shots off. And so the front end's returning back to the delivery side of the sheets. And it looks like they are lining up that tap in off angle raise, or tap top in off. Let's call it a tap in off. It sounds more fun. But the difficulty is high for this shot, which is fitting because we're at altitude. So this could be for the game here. Katie Feldman with her first shot.
Yeah, I think it's all we got.
Shots underway. Sweepers are on it. They're worried about it curling. It is going to be... Wow! Wow! That turned into a bit of a circus shot where they did run back those high guards onto the blues, and the blues onto the bar, and now Team Feldman is sitting somewhat under the cover, and with a bit of a shrug. That was a shot that 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 turned out to be great for Team Feldman. And so now it's Team Kelble's shot to turn to try and figure out how to make something out of this. But that was an extremely fortunate outcome for Team Feldman. And so now they're kind of looking at trying to get rid of these two. They could maybe try and double those out. Although just looking at the camera that's facing front on, we do have the coach out on the ice dispensing his advice. But there's cover for those shot rods, and so it seems very difficult to get access to those, to double those out. Like a slash double would be a possibility, perhaps. It looks like they're going to try and to do the double. It's going to be super tricky. I mean, they do have the guards. I mean, it is behind cover. The guards are pretty high, so depending on how they hold the line, they might be able to get around the guards and like clip the right side of the stone that's closest to the house. Closest to the top of the house, and double those out. But again, the level of difficulty is super high. But here we go. Team Kelble, she released the stone. Wasn't necessarily happy with it out of hand, and they're just kind of shrugging it off. And unfortunately, that is game. Team Feldman scores 2 in the extra end to win this game. So that was a very tricky shot, and just a great outcome though for Team Feldman to win this game again by a score of 12-10. So handshakes all around, and congratulations to both teams. One team had to win, but it was definitely a strong showing by both teams as this tournament has developed. We're going to be back again, as I said, at 6:30 or so with the feature game of Team Feldman facing Team Coots from Hollywood in the 5th draw of this tournament. On sheet B, we will have Team Kelble taking on the undefeated Team Burton from Coyotes Curling. And that'll be our nightcap. And then we'll follow that up with at least one more game tomorrow morning at 8:30 or so. And we're so glad that you're with us, and we hope you'll stick around for the draws to come. For all of us here at MoPac and the Lake Tahoe EPIC Curling, this has been your announcer Ryan saying good luck, good night, and good curling.